Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Swallowed Star 2 origin continent based on novel. So let's start. Morosa began his closed-door cultivation, thoroughly assimilating the golden scale beetle's corpse, while Luo Fong still concentrated on the transformation method. Hum. Luo Fong watched the two particles floating in front of him, his palms edge sharp like a blade, sweeping past the particles. One of these particles split open, revealing two merged yin-yang particles inside. The other particle split open to disclose three heaps of particles that spun and chased each other. It's all a matter of one particle containing the interior. Luo Fong observed, the container particle is like a world in itself, this is the beginning of unity. Luo Fong noticed the commonality between the two forms. The trinity form of a perfect primal chaos layer creature makes evolution simpler within its particle world. The 10 directions world form of the golden scale beetle's corpse involves deeper level evolution within its particle world, also drastically changing in power. The evolution within a particle, is it like the world nurturing and evolving? Luo Fong observed, as the numerous mysteries of the two major branches of life, spirituality and body of life, at the pinnacle of primal chaos realm collided. Time elapsed. Suddenly, at one moment, Luo Fong naturally stopped his cultivation. It's time to leave. Luo Fong had already set his departure time. Even during the intensive cultivation, he would emerge punctually when the time came. On the day of the departure, Emperor Chuyu also personally came to see off Luo Fong. Brother Luo, in this heavenly level task, all first-class marquises will try everything. In terms of individual strength, I am ultimately the weakest, my individual tasks. I am afraid I will rank lower. Marquis Chuyu looked at Luo Fong. So for this task, we need not put too much pressure on ourselves. Just focus on preparing your own individual tasks, Luo Fong said. Leave the blood spirit golden pearl task entirely to me. Marquis Chuyu nodded. If the heavenly task had come much later, several hundred eras from now, once he reached the pinnacle of the primal chaos realm, then undertaking individual tasks, his chances would be much better. But such is life, one can't always have everything as desired. The blood spirit golden pearl skirmish is at the border between two countries, be careful, Marquis Chuyu said. Don't forget I cultivate the physical body, perhaps vying for blood spirit golden pearl might be average, but my survival capability is unquestionable. Luo Fong spoke truthfully, his combat system, indeed was at a disadvantage in competing for blood spirit golden pearls. Life spirituality, body of life, both are renowned for their survivability. Competing with cultivators of causality, space, world, and other paths for treasures, indeed, I am not as smooth as them. Let's both do our best, Marquis Chuyu smiled. I am leaving first. If I collect blood spirit golden pearls, I'll send them back immediately, Luo Fong said. Marquis Chuyu nodded. Before departing, Luo Fong saw the primordial ancestor, and Moyu Qingyang seeing him off to the side. Luo Fong nodded to the primordial ancestor, then advised Moyu Qingyang, Luo Sa is now also in closed-door cultivation, you should also devote more effort to your cultivation. Yes, Master, Moyu Qingyang immediately replied. Luo Fong nodded, then with a single step, already traversed the void and departed. Marquis Chuyu watched this scene. I need to also give my best shot at my two individual tasks. Marquis Chuyu nodded slightly to the primordial ancestor, and Moyu Qingyang, then also left. ********************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************* central and bustling territories of the land of origin. The natural treasures here cultivate more abundantly, even the number of cultivators and exotic beasts bred are much larger. The junction of these two countries is even acclaimed as the heart of the land of origin. Here, precious resources are exceedingly numerous. The two ancient countries also have a tacit agreement, letting almost all resources be contested by those in the primal chaos realm. Only a very few resources would provoke actions from the godly kings. I've arrived. Leaving Chu capital, Luo Fong, using the tunneling transformation technique to travel, within just over 3 hours arrived at his destination. With the tunneling transformation technique, Luo Fong, as if melded into the void, looked at the distant sky from afar, where there was an incredibly massive blood-red fireball. The glow emitted by this blood-red fireball illuminated the surrounding land and rivers with red light. This naturally nurturing blood spirit star illuminates a wide area with its glow, also producing some of the natural wonders around it. Luo Fong noted the blood spirit star. The flame of this blood spirit star, roughly every era, will erupt 2 or 3 times, spewing liquid-like flames as well as blood spirit golden pearls. The task lasts 1 era. Within this era, any blood spirit golden pearls that erupt, we need to seize them. Luo Fong looked on from afar. There are signs when the blood spirit star is about to enter its eruption period. There's no need to reach the proximity too early. Who? Luo Fong waved his hand. The law of primal chaos operated, and the chaotic power naturally gathered to form an ordinary cave mansion, which was also equipped with a simple formation that blocked prying eyes. Let's wait for the blood spirit star to enter its eruption period. Luo Fong created a divine power incarnation, sitting cross-legged within a pavilion, sensing the activities of the distant blood spirit star at all times. Luo Feng's true body had already entered Star Tower for cultivation. An era's time, probably just needing to compete 2 or 3 times. The rest of the lengthy era, naturally, was to be used for cultivation. I can feel, there are already many strong presences around the blood spirit star. Lord of Yuan's Xiao mansion merged within the natural world, silently observing the world around the blood spirit star. He also couldn't help but smile, this time aiding Marquis Chu Feng to compete for blood spirit golden pearls. I can also take the chance to spar with one strong player after another. In this contest, as viewed by the Lord of Yuan's Xiao mansion, doing one's best is sufficient. As for the final ranking of Marquis Chu Feng, he wasn't concerned about it. Lord of Yuan's Xiao mansion was more concerned about his own cultivation. A grey shadow, hidden in the deepest part of the void, revealed no aura as it silently observed the area around blood spirit star. Based on my observations, there are at least 9 auras nearby, the grey shadow noted. It seems that this competition for the blood spirit golden pearl will not be easy. General Yang Su, I believe in your ability to vie for the blood spirit golden pearl, an invisible fluctuation transmitted. This competition is intense. I dare not claim to gather the most blood spirit golden pearls, but I can assure at least 10, the grey shadow declared. You Two Realms Palace, do not forget what you promised me. The invisible fluctuation responded, rest assured, fairness is paramount in the conduct of our Two Realms Palace. Good, the grey shadow replied. During this competition for the blood spirit golden pearl, Luo he will probably make a move as well. At the critical moment, you can strike against him to sabotage his blood spirit golden pearl task, said the invisible fluctuation. He is, after all, a direct disciple of the Emperor, the grey shadow remarked. The Emperor won't use his power to bully you. A transcendence of primal chaos realm, the invisible fluctuation stated, in a fair fight, who would bother you? Increase the reward you promised me by 30%, the grey shadow demanded. As long as you fully sabotage his mission, I will increase it by 30%, the invisible fluctuation asserted, his power such that those transcending the primal chaos realm generally acted very polite, and dared not treat him lightly. Yet Luo Fong had directly attacked his incarnation, which indeed angered him. But he dared not truly invade Chu capital. A mere transcendence of primal chaos realm. As a member within the Two Realms Palace, an ancient being from the land of origin, accustomed to superiority. Luo Feng's offense indeed enraged him. Clouds in the sky, suddenly becoming sentient, overlooking blood spirit star from afar. Brother Chu Ying asked me to make a move. I'll only take half this time's blood spirit golden pearls. The clouds surveyed all around, the other half, let the others fight over them. Having secured half, Brother Chu Ying will assuredly rank first in this subtask of the heavenly task, the clouds continued to observe. Onlookers lurking in the shadows, however, did not notice that these clouds had become sentient. Boom. As experts from various factions secretly hid nearby, patiently waiting for the eruption period of the blood spirit star, a terrifying commotion suddenly erupted, attracting the attention of all the concealed experts. What is that? Luo Feng's divine power incarnation also looked over. A gigantic hoof tore through the void, striding across it, bringing its entire colossal body into this space. Such a large body, Luo Fong marveled internally. Sir the novel_fire.et website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Its lower body possessed 4 enormous hooves, while its upper body featured bulky, powerful arms, carrying circles of black chains and several short spears. Standing there, its stature was perhaps 900 billion kilometers tall. Its breathing alone created storms. Its eyes, like stars. Ha ha ha. Standing on the earth, it scanned all around, its eyes piercing through various layers of concealment to observe each expert. Members of Flame Wind Ancient Country, your Emperor choose lineage treats, gathering blood spirit golden pearls as a subtask of a heavenly task. Did anyone bother to ask if I from Flame Wind Ancient Country agree? It grinned, its gaping mouth laughing even more wildly. Most of the blood spirit golden pearls this time are mine. However, I am willing to sell you blood spirit golden pearls, to the highest bidder, ha ha. His laughter caused ripples across the heavens and the earth, many mountains cracked from the vibrations, and many trees were directly shattered. Seeing this, the experts hidden in darkness felt somewhat troubled. It's the City Lord of Desert Wind from Thunder Ancient Country. This is a task for Flame Wind Ancient Country, yet the City Lord of Desert Wind dares to meddle. Even Lord Yuan Xiao and others felt the pressure. Luo Fong, spying that towering figure, felt a headache coming on. City Lord of Desert Wind. Luo Fong frowned. In Flame Wind Ancient Country, those at the primal chaos layer level generally are forbidden to cultivate the primordial bloodline system. Even becoming a godly king has numerous thresholds, requiring strict verification before qualifying to learn the primordial bloodline system. Because the primordial bloodline contains immense power and some chaotic will, venturing into its study at the primal chaos layer usually results only in losing control. The imperial clan of Thunder Ancient Country, however, allows cultivation of primordial bloodline at the primal chaos layer level. Although many there go mad, and some at the godly king tier even lose control, it must be admitted, those who maintain clarity possess terrifying strength. According to the intelligence I've gathered, the top-tier beings of the land of origin can have their cultivation systems classified into 2 main types. One type involves using the primordial bloodline, primordial materials, and primoral force for cultivation, generally possessing greater strength. The inheritance and resources for this type are very expensive. Another type involves normal cultivation of the Great Tao, like my 8 Tribulations life form First Calamity, Extermination of 72 Blades Volume 1, which are purely Daoic cultivation. Pure Daoic cultivation requires fewer resources and won't result in losing control, but generally, the power is somewhat inferior. Only by understanding one's own Tao does the strength advance a little further. Using the primordial force and primordial materials for cultivation is relatively safe. Using the primordial bloodline for cultivation is the most dangerous. Luo Fong observed the imposing City Lord of Desert Wind. Yet, once successful, every transcendent of primal chaos realm who uses the primordial bloodline is incredibly formidable. For instance, Marquis Chu Yuan, even when not fully trained, Luo Fong could not kill him even if he turned him to liquid. But once fully trained, the transformation in strength is immense. The blood spirit star hung high, its crimson flames illuminating in all directions, as the Desert Wind City Lord lay on all fours, sitting there peacefully at rest. Concealed in the darkness, powerful beings, one after another, waited patiently. Days passed by. Luo Fong too had patience, fully engrossed in his cultivation, until one day. Boom tilde tilde tilde, the massive blood spirit star boiled like tumultuous flames rolling over. It's about to enter the eruption period. Luo Fong's divine power incarnation had been meditating cross-legged, sensing from afar that the blood spirit star was beginning to enter the eruption period. So Luo Fong's true body immediately emerged from the star tower. After entering the eruption period, liquid flames will first spurt out, and as the momentum grows, the blood spirit golden pearls will be ejected. Luo Fong had long since learned the detailed information. Whoosh! Packing up his cave mansion, Luo Fong had already swiftly approached the blood spirit star. At this moment, the many strong beings hidden in the shadows converged on the blood spirit star from all directions, finally entering the eruption period. Beneath the blood spirit star, the Desert Wind City Lord, who had been sitting there, also stood up, his eyes filled with excitement. Suddenly, with him at the center, winds howled in the vast surrounding area, sweeping across the blood spirit star in all directions, and even scouring the earth to a depth of 100 billion kilometers. Above and below, in every direction, there was only wind. The Desert Wind City Lord, drawing on the primordial bloodline, had taken control of this wild wind. That's the Desert Wind domain. Any regular peak primal chaos realm being would turn to dust and smoke under this wind. Under the Desert Wind domain, it will be difficult for me to compete for a blood spirit golden pearl. Some of the hidden strong ones felt a tremor of fear. Saw the novelfire.nt website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Bang. Boom. The blood spirit star grew increasingly unstable, with liquid flames splashing and bursting in all directions, when suddenly, within one stream of liquid flame, a crimson gold pearl was mixed in. The hidden powerhouses present, the weakest of whom were at the pinnacle of the primal chaos realm, instantly locked onto this very first crimson gold pearl to erupt. Mine. The Desert Wind City Lord glanced over, and the endless winds had already wrapped around that crimson gold pearl. Take. Lord of Yuan Xiao Mansion stood at a distance, his dark mansion prison enveloped the crimson gold pearl with terrifying power, intending to draw it into the dark mansion within his body. However, the Lord of Yuan Xiao Mansion realized, the winds encompassing the vast heavens and earth seemed to form a massive whole. The wind also enveloped that crimson gold pearl. To take away the crimson gold pearl, one would need to battle the entire Desert Wind domain. The Dark Mansion prison struggled against the Desert Wind domain and was clearly outmatched. This Desert Wind domain from the primordial bloodline is way too strong. Lord of Yuan Xiao Mansion's face slightly changed, knowing well that each transcendent being of the primal chaos realm, who cultivated the primordial bloodline, was incredibly formidable. But faced in direct confrontation, Lord of Yuan Xiao Mansion also felt a hint of helplessness. It was as if he was using a prison to detain a colossal beast, which he simply couldn't confine. Whoosh! Suddenly, a streak of sharpness swept over the crimson gold pearl, and thereafter, the crimson gold pearl vanished without a trace. The Desert Wind City Lord's expression changed. His Desert Wind domain had enveloped the crimson gold pearl, wanting to take it away. But that edge seemed to cut out a small segment of the world, taking with it the small space where the crimson gold pearl was, whisking away the whole thing. His Desert Wind domain couldn't stop it. The blood spirit golden pearls of today, I'll take half, the rest of you can fight over, a cold voice echoed in all directions. The grey shadow about to act from the darkness also changed expression, Baiyun the Great Saint. Baiyun the Great Saint. Within the Desert Wind domain, Luo Fong could not tunnel either, he needed to fly closer. His speed in acting was not comparable to that of Lord of Yuan Xiao Mansion, or Baiyun the Great Saint. To enlist Baiyun the Great Saint out of the 7 first-ranked marquises of Emperor Chu's lineage. Luo Fong felt the pressure. When it came to strength, both Baiyun the Great Saint and Desert Wind City Lord were among those at the forefront of transcendence of primal chaos realm. Yet Baiyun the Great Saint, who followed the origin Tao of the world, could even cut out parts of the world with a single sword strike. In terms of snatching the blood spirit golden pearls, the methods of Baiyun the Great Saint were even stronger than the Desert Wind domain of the Desert Wind City Lord. Ha ha ha. I didn't expect Baiyun the Great Saint to come, the Desert Wind City Lord laughed loudly. A single eruption of a blood spirit golden pearl, and you managed to whisk it away. If multiple blood spirit golden pearls erupt simultaneously, how many can you snatch? We can try. The voice of Baiyun the Great Saint resounded through heaven and earth, yet she remained hidden within the melia, unseen. This is bad. The distant Lord of Yuan Xiao Mansion, viewing the scene, frowned. I thought my methods were quite adept at contesting for blood spirit golden pearls. Yet Desert Wind City Lord and Baiyun the Great Saint are even more skilled at snatching them. Practitioners of different paths have various techniques. Some excel in saving their own lives, others in fleeing. Marquis Chuying enlisted Bai Yun the Great Saint, because amongst his acquaintances who transcended the primal chaos realm, she was the most suited to vie for the blood spirit golden pearls. Rumble tilde tilde tilde. The blood spirit star became even more furious, continuously erupting with liquid-like flames. Bang! Suddenly, the splashing liquid flames carried 3 blood spirit golden pearls. Upon their appearance, every transcendent being in the primal chaos realm, including Luo Fong, struck out instantly. Tilde 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 tilde. Lord of Yuan Xiao Mansion used his full strength with his dark mansion prison to capture a blood spirit golden pearl, but this time, not only was the desert wind domain closing in, but an invisible world also contended. Whiz! An edge cut out a small chunk of the world as if slicing a piece off a sheet of paper, taking that segment of the world with a blood spirit golden pearl along with it. Whoosh! A grey shadow teleported through the desert wind domain, appearing right next to a blood spirit golden pearl, and as he grasped the pearl, he too vanished into thin air. Only the 3rd blood spirit golden pearl was swept up by the desert wind domain and fell into the mouth of Desert Wind City Lord. Boom! Luo Fong was still charging towards a blood spirit golden pearl, only to find that it had already vanished. I am too slow. Luo Fong realized the problem now. As of now, the vicinity of blood spirit star engulfed by the desert wind domain, with Bai Yun the Great Saint commanding heaven and earth while many forces were clashing and suppressing. Luo Fong relied solely on the tunneling transformation technique, finding it impossible to traverse the void. That grey shadow, is it Great Saint Yang Su? Luo Fong also recognized the expert, who snatched a blood spirit golden pearl. Great Saint Yang Su, a transcendent of the primal chaos realm, cultivated the origin Tao of space. His mastery was so profound that, even with strong suppressions around, he could still teleport with ease. Moreover, he also practiced the clone technique. With just the clone technique, Yang Su the Great Saint was already a formidable adversary. Either have a domain, control heaven and earth, or be adept at space. Relying solely on my physical body, how can I compete with them? There was a murderous look in Luo Fong's eyes. No choice. I have to seize by force. Boom. Luo Fong was seen sprinting over, his body rapidly enlarging during his sprint, trillions of kilometers, tens of quadrillions of kilometers, reaching the edge of the starry sky at an inconceivable rate. An endlessly towering body, as tall as heaven and earth itself, emerged, reducing blood spirit star to mere insignificance before him. It's all mine. Luo Fong stood there, as black liquid flew out of his robe, quickly engulfing the entire blood spirit star. The black liquid completely enveloped the gargantuan blood spirit star, layer upon layer. This is the only way. The endlessly towering Luo Fong, with the blood spirit star at the position of his chest, was entirely wrapped up by the black liquid. Luo He. Desert Wind City Lord looked up at this towering figure and scoffed. Being larger doesn't mean you can fight. Get lost. Whiz 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 tilde 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 tilde. The desert wind howled, blowing against Luo Fong's body. The terrifying wind that could reduce ordinary beings of the primal chaos realm to ashes seemed too gentle for Luo Fong. Luo Fong looked down at that tiny speck that was Desert Wind City Lord. All your techniques are very clever, Luo Fong spoke. My physical body cultivation is somewhat crude, so I have to resort to such methods. Physical body. I want to see whose body is stronger between you and me. Desert Wind City Lord instantly enlarged his body to a tremendous height of tens of quadrillions of kilometers. Any larger, and his power might diminish. Boom. The tens of quadrillion kilometers tall Desert Wind City Lord, though immense, merged into the desert wind itself, his hoofs trampling the void, moving at a frightening speed as he charged straight at Luo Fong. Although he was much smaller than Luo Fong in stature, Desert Wind City Lord, who cultivated the primordial bloodline, was truly terrifying in physical body strength, capable of fighting against godly kings without faltering. Lord of Yuan Xiao Mansion, Bai Yun the Great Saint, and Yang Su, they were all covertly watching. They were not adept at head-on confrontations. Boom tilde 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 tilde. Luo Fong didn't even attempt to dodge. He stood his ground, allowing the City Lord of Desert Wind City to slam into his chest. Harnessing the power of the 5 transformation methods within him, Luo Fong was most confident in his physical body. He was curious to see how strong this physical resilience of a primal chaos realm transcendent with primordial bloodline could be. The impact was as if heaven and earth were shattering. Rumble tilde 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 tilde, the force obliterated many spatial layers. HM. Luo Fong felt a horrific shock force blast through his body, billions of units of the transformation method working simultaneously to dissipate the force, causing him to stagger back 2 steps before he steadied himself. Each step he took created vast pits spanning trillions of kilometers on the ground. The City Lord of Desert Wind City too was repelled by the impact, feeling a terrifying rebound force coursing through his entire body. The aftermath of the collision swept through the surroundings, annihilating high mountains and trees, flattening the land. "I think we'd better not get involved," one remarked. "If we're not careful, we could get caught in the crossfire from their battle to transcend the primal chaos realm," another said. "We won't be able to snatch the blood spirit golden pearl," admitted a third. Several peak primal chaos realm beings hiding in the distance trembled at the sight. The terrifying power of this direct confrontation could obliterate them even if just grazed. After all, the City Lord of Desert Wind City cultivated with the primordial bloodline, his physical body is naturally extremely powerful, fearless even against a godly king. But how can this how can his body also be so powerful? In their head-on clash, Luo stepped back twice, while the City Lord of Desert Wind City took a full 5 steps. 4 legs took 5 steps back, the difference shouldn't be large. Though the peak primal chaos realm beings dared not interfere, they still observed the battle closely. Such a level of combat was indeed rare. Luo Fong and the City Lord of Desert Wind City looked at each other, equally surprised. "I am of primordial bloodline. Shouldn't I have the advantage in a physical clash?" The City Lord of Desert Wind City could not believe it. Among those who had transcended the primal chaos realm, indeed some specialized in cultivating their physical bodies. Some utilized the primordial force, others the primordial items to cultivate their physical bodies. But, without a doubt, those who cultivated with the primordial bloodline were even more powerful in their transcendence of the primal chaos realm. With the galaxy transformation method, I am considered to have transcended the primal chaos realm, and my physical strength should be even greater. Over the past 2 decades in Chu Capital, the life spirituality aspect of the transformation method has also improved a lot, nearly doubling my physical strength, yet I am only comparable to him. Luo Fong was also astonished. Originally, his transformation method, with the yin-yang particle form, broke through to the transcendent strength level of the primal chaos realm. In battle, he would typically rely on the long-range attacks of the galaxy transformation method. During close combat, because of the need to mobilize billions of units of the transformation method within his entire body, he couldn't execute very intricate maneuvers, but it still amounted to immeasurable power, which was Luo Fong's strongest tactic. Over the past 2 decades, though the transformation method remained in the yin-yang particle form, after reaching the life spirituality pinnacle of the primal chaos realm, the life spirituality of the yin-yang particles significantly increased, nearly doubling his physical strength. Luo Fong believed that with his terrifying body made up of billions of units of the transformation method, he had nothing to fear from an ordinary godly king. A transcendent of the primal chaos realm with primordial bloodline is indeed mighty. His physical body truly is no weaker than mine, thought Luo Fong. This video will end here.